Hey guys, so this video is going to go out to the parents out there who feel the need for some reason to put their children, and when I say children I mean like 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, basically prepubescent children, into things like child beauty pageants and apparently dressing their kids up in drags and taking them to drag conventions around other adults who are extremely sexualized and extremely just in very sexualized outfits, and dressing their kids up in highly sexualized outfits. This is going to go out to all those parents out there. And no, I'm not a parent, but I don't think I need to be a parent to know that this is a bit fucked up. So, a friend of mine sent me this video, and it's from Millennial Millie, and she does work for InfoWars. I know. But I still feel that this needs to be addressed and talked about. And I've kind of wanted to do a video on this topic for a while, but I didn't really know how to address it. This is kind of a good segue into the subject. But the title of the video is "Liberals Drag Kids into Early Sexualization." Now, I want to make a distinction. I feel uncomfortable with using just liberals as a generalization because I feel like there are some people who are liberal out there who are logical and sane thinking people who don't do this. I prefer to call them just leftists, you know, leftists, far leftist, SJWs, whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is just what I'm talking about. Like, you know, it's what I'm talking about, like, with the far left and everything. Like, they almost want to sexualize children in this weird way, you know? And look, it's one thing for your kid to be growing up, like let's just use a boy for this example. It's one thing for a couple to have, you know, a little boy and everything, and, you know, early on the parents are noticing that he gravitates towards more feminine things, like maybe he just like prefers to put on, he just like will take his mom's makeup and put it on, or he'll, you know, try to put on dresses and stuff like that. And I mean, at first they might try to wean him off that and, you know, get him into more masculine things, but you start to notice that he just doesn't, for whatever reason, he doesn't gravitate towards that stuff, so maybe later on in life he might end up being possibly gay or transgender, and if so, then it is what it is, so be it. That's one thing. But to force this type of stuff onto your kids this early on, I don't feel that it's right. I don't think it's right. I think it's a little bit fucked up. And look, it's one thing to be accepting of different sexualities and accepting of, like, trans people, but this just makes me really uncomfortable. So we're gonna dive into this video. I'm gonna kind of just react to it and tell you what's going on, but this is just, to me, just seems really fucked. But let's get into it. Yeah, so you've got
Millie Weaver reporting for Infowars.com. So here's what's going down today. The Austin International Drag Festival. So you have all these headliners. You have Poo Poo Platt.
So yeah, the Austin International Drag Festival, and yeah, you've got a bunch of people who look like they're on drugs and are dressing up in I don't know what the fuck, and a lot of them they just look like they might be SJWs. Like, sometimes you just look at someone, you can just tell, yeah, this person might be an SJW or something. They have the bright dyed hair, the glasses, they got the whole enchilada, the whole shebang. So off to a great start here. So, you've got all these sexualized names, or these names with sexual innuendos. So, just keep that in mind.
And then E. So I came across E, and that's one of the headliners. And
so that you've got E, who is a prepubescent boy, and it says E is a normal 11-year-old boy. E isn't necessarily typical, though. We hope that this page will encourage other parents of gender-fluid kids to connect. Oh, boy. And, yeah, expressing himself any way that he feels, and we don't believe in that. And, look, again, it's one thing for parents to support their kid and expressing himself in different ways, in whatever way he wants to. That's fine. That's all good and well, but dressing your kid up in fucking highly sexualized clothing and taking him to something like this, it just strikes me as a little bit odd. And I think the biggest problem I have with this is that you can't tell me that pedophiles don't look for this stuff and start jerking off to it. It's just disturbing. This and child beauty pageants. It's I'm just going to say it right now. Parents who push their kids into child beauty pageants and stuff like that, it's borderline child abuse. I'm going to come out and say it. I'm sorry, not sorry. Because not only are you exposing this kid to, again, all sorts of potential pedophiles, but you're raising a fucking spoiled brat. They're going to be a real upstanding member of society later in their life if you keep pushing them and making them do this type of shit. Good job.
And that looks like a boy dressed as a woman in drag. We've even recently seen Lactatia, the 8-year-old boy whose parents allow him to dress in drag so he can be paraded around at drag festivals.
So you've got an 8-year-old boy, Lactatia, who is, again, dressed in a highly sexualized
I'm gonna find out who's lactating today.
Outfit. And he's got, like, this big purple wig on his head, and he's got, like, this tiara, and his lips... this is very uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't understand. I don't fucking get it. Like, again, I'm not going to repeat myself, but, again, look... Okay, I am going to repeat myself. I just want to make it clear, like, I'm not against parents letting their kids express themselves, but, I mean, you've got an 8-year-old boy here, again, dressed very highly, I'm going to link this video below so you guys can watch it for yourselves, but very highly sexualized clothing around other grown adults in highly sexualized clothing. It's not appropriate for kids that young to one thing to be around that, but then to be like to have the exact same type of attire on themselves around other people who have the exact same type of attire, like, it's stupid.
I am a lactator, honey.
Drag is an all ages thing. Drag should be an all ages thing, and some people consider it provocative. It's not inappropriate, and it's not something that parents should be afraid of if their kids do. So that the liberal.
It's not inappropriate. I mean, is it inappropriate to watch porn with your kids? That's a little extreme, but yeah, dressing up your kid who isn't even close to going through puberty yet in highly sexualized clothing and putting dresses on him, putting makeup on him or her or whatever, and then parading him or her around in this type of attire around other adults who are also wearing highly sexualized attire and potentially attracting pedophiles. It just comes off exploitation of your children. I'm sorry. Exploitation of your children. It's fucking sick to me.
Liberals can thus promote children should be encouraged to transition to whatever sexuality.
Trans kids massively benefit. Think Progress is the name of the website, so you can tell it's just a far leftist SJW website. Trans kids massively benefit from being allowed to socially transition.
They want, even though we're finding out that there are complications.
And then there's another site, Life site. Kindergarten celebrates 5-year-old transgender transition. Kids traumatized. A number of angry parents are considering legal action after a charter school kindergarten teacher stated what one critic calls a transgender transition ceremony in class for 5-year-old. See, again, I mean, it's look, this is a really slippery slope, but I'm not saying that we shouldn't be accepting of trans people, but at 5 years old, really? At 5 years old in a kindergarten class, to have a trans ceremony? I mean, it's the same, it'd be like the same thing as celebrating your heterosexuality, or whatever. Celebrating any sexuality or any gender identity at the age of 5 in a kindergarten class. Shouldn't you be celebrating, like, I don't know, like, the Tooth Fairy coming or something? Shouldn't you be celebrating, like, I don't know, shouldn't you be, like, I don't know, like, learning addition, learning, like, going over stuff like that, and then, like, handing out pieces of candy every time someone gets an answer right or something? I mean, shit.
Associated, such as the hormones causing the boys to have penises that are stunted.
There's definitely been a lot of complications in
Just
terms of the bottom surgery because I've been on the hormone blockers and basically I haven't had a lot of development.
Okay, you see, it's stuff like this why I'm not on board with kids this young going on puberty blockers and stuff like that to transition. Because there's always the chance that they could change their mind about being trans, but they've been on these puberty blockers for years, and now their growth is stunted. That's just me. That's just me personally. I mean, that's just me personally, but...
So we're, debating if I have enough material to work with. It's all this weird stuff.
You're finding kids then decide later on, actually, I don't want to transition, and then they have to go
Right.
through a reversal process. It's just a freaking disaster. We've also seen public libraries holding drag storytelling time.
Drag Queen Story Hour is fantastic because it addresses all of these issues of gender fluidity.
Oh my god.
Brought to the
But
library.
why, though? Why? Why to a freaking kindergarten class of 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds? Why? This is exactly what I was talking about in my video about queer kids stuff. Why? Look, it's one thing to bring your kids up to be accepting and treat others with respect and kindness, people who are gay or transgender. It's one thing to do that. Or not even that, just teach them to be nice and respectful to people regardless of how they are. Just respect everyone and be kind to everyone, regardless. Even if they are a little different, who cares, right? But so they've got a freaking person who's, again, got the makeup caked on. It's a drag queen or whatever, reading a drag story to 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, who I'm sure completely understand everything that she's trying to say, gender fluidity and shit like that. I'm sure they can comprehend sexuality and gender at that fucking age. You fucking idiots.
To then have a drag queen read them a story, thus normalizing and promoting this drag fetish culture to young children.
There aren't a lot of kid drag queens. They're considered inappropriate.
There shouldn't be.
But, like, inappropriate just means that you look good. I'm 8 years old, get it right.
Jesus. Oh my god, so you've got another 8-year-old who's, again, sexualized outfit and everything. The parents... The parents out there, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're literally exploiting your children on a grand scale. And what about later on in life when they look back at this shit? What are they gonna think when they've actually developed their own thoughts and opinions on this shit? With some of these kids, it's potentially, when you push them into shit like this, it's gonna fuck them up. It's gonna fuck them up mentally and emotionally. I can't. Well, I'm 2.5 minutes into the video. It's 9 minutes long. I'm not gonna get through the entire thing. That's all I can do. This shit pisses me off. It really does. I'm not some uptight, conservative person but I have my boundaries. I mean, I consider myself a pretty accepting person for the most part, but this, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I don't understand the parents who push their kids into this shit. You know, if the kids get to a certain age where they're going through puberty and they've discovered that they're trans or they're gay, that's one thing. And I do think when that does happen, parents should be accepting of their kids. When that happens, they should be. But, fuck. Yeah. So, again, I think shit like this is, again, I'll say it again, I think it's borderline child abuse. I do. I really think it is. I think it's borderline child abuse. That's all I got. That's all I got. This really gets to me. So that's it for this one, and I'll talk to you guys later. So peace and have a good day.